Hello class, we're going to be covering in this chapter transformations. Now there's two main types of transformations. There's rigid transformations, and this includes reflections, translations, and rotations. Now we will be talking about transformations, so what I want you to do, and this will be on the quiz, is define transformation for me. Okay? On the quiz, on the Google quiz today, you'll define transformation. Okay? Sorry if that looks like an A. Okay, you'll define transformation in the geometric sense of the word. Okay? So, what we're going to be covering is some key ideas. And before we begin that, we want to look at the idea of pre-image. So pre-image and image. Sorry, pre-image is one word. Okay, pre-image and image. Now pre-image is going to be denoted by points without anything attached to them. Okay, A, B, C, so on, right, dot, dot, dot. But image is going to be where we have A prime, B prime, C, and this tells us that our image is a transformation of our pre-image. So our pre-image is what we start with. Our image is what we will get when we do a transformation. Okay. So our first section is going to be about reflections. Now reflections are flip over a line on the page. So the line is what's going to affect our flip. So let's look at this real quick. Okay. So as you can see, a line of reflection. So reflection in a line is a function that maps a point to the image as such, or such that point on the line, the image, and pre-image are the same point. If the point is not on the line is perpendicular bisector. It's like joining the 2 points. Basically, you have a point, and if the pre-image and image, or the pre-image is reflected, if the pre-image is on the line, it will stay in the same place. If it's not on the line between the pre-image and the image, so if you notice right here, let's just blow this up a little bit. So if you notice this is our image, and our pre-image are going to be a perpendicular bisector to the line of reflection. Okay? So remember, perpendicular bisector is going to be equal distances to the line, and the slope should be perpendicular. Okay? So they're going to give us some images or pre-images to reflect, right? So they give us this shape and a line to reflect it over. So what you do is you create lines perpendicular to K using this, and then you find the bisector by finding the distance from this point to the line, and then you just reflect it over and do the same thing. So that's what they do over here, right? Measure the distance opposite, okay? And then you draw the image. So this is some guided practice we can do, but let's keep going. There's some example real problem, but let's talk about it on the coordinate plane. So how would we reflect over a line? Okay. Now, if it's a horizontal or vertical, it's actually either the x or the y that's changing. Only one of them is going to change. So in this case, they want you to reflect a line x equals -4, which will only change the x value. Okay, the y value will stay the same. Notice here, L is -6, 1, and it moves moves to -8, sorry, yeah, so it will reflect over the line. So sorry, this is L. It reflects over to -2, 1. Okay. And then J does the same thing, and K reflects the same one. Okay. So there's reflection over the x-axis, the y-axis, the origin, and then the line x equals y. Okay. So the x-axis is going to be, you're going to make the y negative. Okay. Whatever the y is, it's going to become negative. The y-axis is going to make the x negative. Okay. So x-axis, y is negative. Y-axis, x is negative. Origin, both are going to become negative. Okay. So we'll look at some points. Okay. And then there's some practice with that. And then the line y equals x, you're going to flip the order, okay? So the order will just flip. Okay? So let's look at some problems on our page, and we'll keep practicing some more. Actually, we will practice some more in this section, and then we will go to the next section for the next video. Sorry, when the line is so faded, I can't see it. Okay. Okay. Now remember how to draw a coordinate plane. Okay. So we're gonna just have some values. This will make it easy. We'll do it to -5 to +5, 1, 2. So this is our x, this is our y. Now let's take a point. Let's take a point. Let's take A is 1, 2. So 1, 2 up. Okay, now we're going to reflect this over the x-axis, okay? Now all that changes when we reflect it over the x-axis, A prime, is going to make our y negative. So it's going to be right over here. So this is A, and this is going to be A prime. Okay? Notice it just flipped over the x-axis. Okay? Now what about the y-axis? If we're doing y-axis. Well, y-axis will just, sorry, no, this was y-axis. This is y-axis. This is our y. This is our x-axis. Okay, so y-axis, the rule is you take x comma y, and it's going to be translated to, that's why my brain just fuzzled. It's going to be -x comma y. Okay. X-axis is going to be, you take our normal point, and you get x comma -y. Okay. Mentally, I knew what I was talking about. Sorry. So, y-axis. So, y-axis here is going to flip it this way, horizontally. So, x-axis is going to flip it vertically. Okay? So, this reflection, so just as this one changed the x to be negative, this one is going to change the y to be negative. Okay? Now, we have 2 more. So I'm going to erase these 2. So you had time to pause the video if you need to. And we're going to talk about origin and so origin, you take your current point and you translate it to the negative of both, okay? Both are going to become negative. So where we have 1, 2, A prime is going to be -1, -2. So that point is actually going to flip over here, -1, -2. Be right here. And actually, if you see it, this right here is a combination of x-axis right here and y-axis right here. So actually, this is origin. Okay. And finally, if we have our point, and then we have the line y equals x, you're actually going to flip the numbers. So your output and input are going to switch. So in this case, our new point, A prime, is going to be 2, 1. Okay? So 2, 1. Okay? If we erase everything else, it's going to be right here. Okay, and it's over this line right here. Okay? It's over this y equals x line. Okay? So that's going to be transformations.